Good morning, and welcome to the Windward Buddhist Temple Family Dharma Service. My name is Naomi, and I will be your MC. We will begin with the ringing of the temple bell, or Kansho, that signifies the beginning of a temple service. It is a deep and sacred ritual steeped in ancient tradition. It is the calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma or teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of the Windward Buddhist Temple. Please sit quietly in your seat. If you are able, please rise for the meditation, followed by the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana by the congregation in Pali and English in the red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 7.
Sangha for guidance. Namana, 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 namana.
Please be seated. Today's sutra is Gassho to Amida in the Jodo Shinshu Service Book on page 123.
I Gassho to Amida. by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of
If you are able, please rise for the recitation Homages in the Jodo Shinshu Service book on page 2. Hard it is to be born into human life. Now we are living in it. Difficult it is to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear them. If we do not gain emancipation in this present life, we may not be free from ill-faring in the ocean of births and deaths for kalpas. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures.
We go to the Buddha for guidance. May we always walk in the way that leads to enlightenment. We go to the Dharma for guidance. May we be submerged in the depth of the teachings and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. We go to the Sangha for guidance. May we all with one accord live the life of harmony in the spirit of oneness, free from the bondage of selfishness.
Even through myriads of kalpas, hard it is to hear such excellent and profound teachings. Now we are able to hear and receive them. Let us try to understand the Tathagata's teachings.
Namo Amida Buddhist, Namo Amida Buddhist, Namo Amida Buddhist.
Please continue to stand for the Gatha at our altar in the Praises of the Buddha book on page 22. Thank you. Please be seated. Dharma Talk this morning will be by Reverend Saul. Good morning, Sensei.
Hello, mic test. Okay, let's join our hands together in Gassho. Monks, a statement endowed with 5 factors is well spoken, not ill spoken. It is blameless and unfaulted by knowledgeable people. Which 5? It is spoken at the right time. It is spoken in truth. It is spoken affectionately. It is spoken beneficially. It is spoken with a mind of goodwill. From the Anguttara Nikaya Sutra, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning and welcome again to this first Sunday service for this month of February. Hard to believe 1 month of the new year is already over. It seems like only yesterday we were exchanging Happy New Year greetings, but it's still okay. You know, the Chinese Lunar New Year began last Wednesday, I believe, so we can, although we are not Chinese, we are familiar with the Chinese New Year greeting and can say Gung Hi Fat Choi instead. It was only when I came to Hawaii that I learned those words, and in a funny way too. When I was working at St. Francis Medical Center back in 1999, that time the hospital was still in business. I worked in the hemodialysis center unit with many Filipino nurses like I am. We had this one Chinese patient who apparently just immigrated to this country and did not speak any English, and had his treatment at our unit. He was there for about 3.5 hours, hooked up to the dialysis machine, and his treatment went very well. No complications. After the procedure, I helped the Filipino nurse who did his treatment to get him out of the bed and onto the wheelchair to send him back to his regular room. He was so grateful, he bowed and started babbling in Chinese, none of which we understood, of course, but he must have been trying to thank us for giving him good treatment. Now his primary nurse, the Filipino lady, that was at a loss for words on how to respond. So she just nodded her head back and said, yes, yes, bye-bye, Gung Hi Fat Choi. As I recall, that time it was in the middle of summer. Yeah. After the patient had left, I told the other nurse, wow, I didn't know you speak Chinese. To which she replied, I don't. I didn't know how to respond to him, so I just said the only Chinese phrase I knew, and that is Gung Hi Fat Choi. Oh, what does that mean? I asked. It's Happy New Year, she said, and we both laughed. So that's how I learned the Chinese greeting for New Year. But does it really mean Happy New Year in Chinese? No. The literal meaning of Gung Hi Fat Choi is, may prosperity be with you. Happy New Year literally is Hinian Kuai Le in Mandarin Chinese. It is truly amazing and wonderful that we human beings are capable of communicating with each other through this medium we call language. Through the use of words, formed by forcing air through our throats, moving the tongue and opening the mouth, we are able to express our thoughts, ideas, and needs to other people who are capable of understanding the particular language we're using. And not only through verbal means. Language is also expressed in many different ways, from the next most common after verbal, which is writing, to other more complex means like music, art, signals and codes like smoke and colors, facial expressions, and body movements. Other life forms too have means of communicating within their species, but they are not as sophisticated and as precise as human language. The ability to use language enabled humans to meet and interact, and no doubt contributed to the development of and continuing survival of the human race. But at the same time, because not all humans use the same set of words to express ideas and thoughts, human language has also played a big role in the development of wars and other conflict through misunderstanding or deliberate distortion of the meanings of words. How many spoken languages are there in the world today? You may wonder. According to a web-based publication called Ethnologue, Languages of the World, there are a total of 7,105 languages and dialects known in existence. The major languages in the world that we are familiar with are but the tip of the iceberg. With all that different languages and dialects and the greater mobility of people to move to any part of the world today, it is only inevitable that conflicts through miscommunication will happen in one form or another. The problem is that there are many words in different languages that sound the same, but with different meanings, even within the same ethnic group, because of regional variations in dialect. Such can occur. For example, I heard this story in the Philippines about this young lady who moved from her home in the central part of the Philippines to the capital region to work as a domestic house helper. She did not speak the dialect in the area where she found work. It was the landlady of the house who hired her, and they had a common dialect which they communicated in. But one day, the landlady was out shopping, and the landlord, the master of the house, ordered the young house helper to sweep the floor. Okay? Now, the Filipino word for sweep in the dialect of that area where she was working is not the same as the word in the young lady's regional dialect. In the young woman's dialect, the word that the landlord used to sweep means to undress or take off her clothes. Naturally, she was terrified as the master kept repeating the word sweep, 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 innocently to make her understand that he wanted her to clean. But to her, it was ordering her to undress over and over again. Most likely, this story is fictional. The landlord could have used sweeping gestures with a broom to make his point. Then again, maybe he really wanted her to strip off her clothes. We don't know. The dirty dog. Anyway, on a more personal level, I'd like to share another story, this time a real one involving my own family, on how misunderstanding broke up a long-term friendship between my father and his good friend across the street from our house. I had this uncle, my father's cousin, who was the captain of a merchant ship, and because of his job, he was stationed in Central America, and there he learned quite a bit of Spanish. One day, my uncle came back home to the Philippines and stayed with us for a few weeks, and on one evening, my father's good friend, the neighbor across the street, invited my father and my uncle over for a few rounds of drinking. Everything was cordial at first until the alcohol took effect, and they all talked stories about their personal lives. Our neighbor, who was already moderately drunk at that time, boasted to my dad and uncle how his brother owns and raises many heads of cattle in their province, and now he was an expert in handling so many of the animals. My uncle then said to him, "Oh, so your brother is a vaquero." When our neighbor heard that word, he became angry. He felt insulted. "What did you say my brother is?" he asked my uncle. "He's a vaquero," my uncle repeated. Our neighbor got even angrier, and soon heated words were exchanged until he drove my father and uncle out of his house. What happened here? The word vaquero is the Spanish word for cowboy, or one who raises cattle. The root word is vaca, yeah? Like in vaccination, that's where they got the word. But our neighbor, not knowing any Spanish, thought my uncle said the Japanese word, vaquero, which means stupid idiot. A word he learned when he was growing up during the Second World War years, when the Imperial Japanese Army occupied this village. Imperial Army soldiers used to slap Filipinos on the streets for failing to bow to them, shouting, Bakayaro, Bakayaro. It's actually Bakayaro, but it's mispronounced rapidly. The Japanese word Bakayaro sounds similar to Vaquero, the Spanish word for cattle herder. By just that one misunderstanding, the long-term friendship that my father had with our neighbor ended. Our neighbor apparently was not a forgiving one. Several years later, both my father and neighbor died just a few years apart without patching things up. What can we learn from all these stories is that language or words is a double-edged sword. And it's not only misunderstanding, but the way we speak and our choice of words can influence our relationship with others. What comes out of our mouths can either make a person happy, feel encouraged, and hopeful, or can make a person sad, depressed, angry, anxious, and hostile, even unintentionally, if there is a misunderstanding. It is this harmful talk that is the focus of Buddhist teaching. Wrong speech causes us many problems. For example, we lie and then we get caught in it. We say something nasty about a coworker and get him into trouble. We speak inconsiderately and offend a client or friend. We spend a whole day in meaningless chatter and nothing gets done. These bad habits of speech are not new. The Buddha, in his time, considered the practice of skillful speech so essential to one's personal and spiritual development that he gave it its own step on the path to happiness. It is one of the noble Eightfold Paths in Buddhist practice. Skillful speech, the Buddha told us, has 4 qualities. It is always truthful, it is uplifting, not malicious or unkind, it is gentle, not crude or harsh, it is moderate, not useless or meaningless. The Buddha had said, the tongue, like a sharp knife, kills without drawing blood. Whatever words we utter should be chosen with care, for people will hear them and be influenced by them, for good or bad. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. When we recite the golden chain of love every time, we say the lines, I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, and so on. Pure and beautiful words constitute right speech. But everything we say originates from the mind first, before we form them into words in our mouths. So, it is essential for us to cultivate the mind first and foremost, for the mind is the master of all what we say, do, and feel. What we think, we become. What we think, we will say. If we are not careful with our speech, and one's words are let out, good or bad, they cannot be taken back. Words may not hurt physically, but they sometimes leave long-lasting negative impressions in some people's minds, even if a sincere apology has been offered by the offender. Words are likened to nails driven on a board. The nails can be removed, but still the holes remain. How do we cultivate the habit of right speech? In his book, The Heart of the Buddha's Teachings, the late Vietnamese Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh said, deep listening is the foundation of right speech. If we cannot listen mindfully, we cannot practice right speech. No matter what we say, it will not be mindful, because we'll be speaking only of our own ideas and not in response to the other person. Right speech is not just about the words we speak, but also the words we hear. Certainly, we cannot banish ugly words from our lives, but we can choose to not soak in them. Sometimes people justify harsh speech because they are speaking on behalf of a worthy cause, or they think the recipient of their harsh words deserve it. But ultimately, stirring up acrimony is planting karmic seeds that will hurt the cause we think we're fighting for. Even if we apologize later for our harsh or insulting words, for some, the apology may not be enough, especially in this litigious society. We can be sued for slander. Even if an apology is accepted for our careless talk, the damage may linger on or may become permanent. We reap the consequences later. Evil begets evil. That is the law of cause and effect. Let us then always be mindful of the words that come out of our mouths. If it takes just one word mispronounced or with a different meaning to ruin a friendship, cause disharmony, fights, and resentment. Let us always practice right speech to promote peace with others and avoid hostility and conflict. Let's conclude with a recitation of the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the life lessons and your very entertaining storytelling. Thank you. If you are now able, please rise for the Gatha, Splendor of an Evening Sky, on page 194, and then continue to stand for the Nembutsu on page 145. Please be seated. Oh, I'm sorry, Nembutsu, sorry.
Oh only that word which one would not torment oneself nor harm others. That word is indeed well spoken. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Sorry. Now please be seated. And good morning, Dennis.
Good morning, Naomi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that interesting message, Reverend. I didn't realize there's so many languages. I only know two, English and Dakain Pidgin. Thank you, Naomi, for being our MC today. Merle for being the greeter. Prudence for ringing the Kansho. Joy for playing the piano, and of course, Ryan, who's recording the service. Let's see, next Sunday is our Dana Day and Pet Memorial Service, which we led by Reverend Saul. Dana means selfless giving. We will have a guest speaker, Cynthia or Cindy as she likes to be called. She's an active member of Hawaii Betsuing and the current board president. There will be a sign-up form at next Sunday's service for you to write the name of your pet. You may bring a picture of the pet and be placed up here during the service. After the service and refreshments, we'll have bingo. Just a reminder of what I've covered last week, the 41st annual Yes Camp will be happening in April. So if you have anyone I believe the ages were 18 to 23? 16 to 23? 13. From what Joy said, it's a wonderful camp to participate. There's a flyer on the bulletin board with more information. Also, a reminder from last week, the workshop titled The Power of Compassion, Rediscovering Your True Value. That will be held at the Hawaii Betsuing Social Hall. The speaker is Trinidad Hunt, and she's the granddaughter of Reverend Dorothy Hunt. More information is also on the bulletin board. Everybody knows about the wildfire that occurred in Southern California. The Buddhist Churches of America has established a Southern California Wildfire Relief Fund in response to the catastrophic and deadly wildfires across Southern California. Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii will be contributing to their effort by sending a donation via the Committee on Social Concerns. Our Bishop Toshiyuki Umitani is urging us, each of us, to make a donation as well. A BCA flyer is on the bulletin board concerning the wildfire relief. And if you'd like to make a donation, the flyer includes a web address, or you can mail a check if you prefer. Annette Kam will be here Saturday, March 15. She's the author of the book, Wait, Don't Die Yet. It's a complete guide to all things no one really wants to think about, but everyone needs to know before, during, and after a loved one's passing. The book is a step-by-step guide for adult children and spouses who are either preparing for death or preparing for someone else's. This book covers the basics of what you need to do to get your affairs in order, while also teaching you the mundane task you must complete in and around the time of death. Then we have the spring adult Dharma classes led by Reverend Burt. scheduled to be begin March 1st, and it'll run for about 15 weeks. I do have a sign-up sheet on the back table, so if you're interested, please sign up. There is a cost of $18 for the book, but if you have your own copy, I know at least one of you use Kindle, so that can be used as well. Let's see. Then we have craft activity today. So after refreshments, Prudence will teach us how to make a snake. And I believe we're also going to be doing some kind of greeting card, Valentine's greeting card. Sure. Prudence will show us what she has in mind for us to do.
Good morning. Last week I showed you this is the year of the snake. So we can make snakes, but because it's so simple to do, and because I guess if you were here in 2023, I decided that every time you go to the store to buy a card, everything that you have Easter cards, you have all kinds of cards. Even your get-well card is very more Christian-like. So I decided we should have our own Buddhist cards. So, what did I do with it? Oh, here we go. We're going to make a very simple Happy Valentine's card with a Buddhist theme. On the right side, it says what Reverend had mentioned. The Buddha said, hatreds do not cease through hatreds, anywhere at any time. Through love alone do they cease. This is an internal law. And on the other side, it has a metta. May you be happy, may you be well, may you be safe, may you be peaceful and at ease, may you be loved. And it says, Happy Valentine's. So, anyway, for those of you who don't know what the word metta is, metta means, I guess, it's goodwill, loving kindness, universal love, a feeling of friendliness, heartfelt concern for all living beings, human or non-human, in all situations. The chief mark of metta is a benevolent attitude, a keen desire to promote the welfare of others. Metta subdues the vice of hatred in all varied shades, anger, ill will, aversion, and resentment. And so the Buddhist Study Center's newsletter is titled Metta, and I think some people sign off their emails with metta. So that's a word that refers to, and I think sometimes we recite there is a metta thing, loving kindness metta that we've recited before. So it's very simple. The card is, all you got to do is paste your heart on it. And there's an envelope, so if you want to send it off to whoever you want, you can do so. So that's for this afternoon, or this right after service and refreshments. Thank you.
Thank you, Prudence. Are there any other announcements? Cynthia, oh yes. Important day today. First Sunday of each month means birthday Sunday.
Morning, everybody. He took my line again. I'm up here for February, and it's the month for? Birthday. Thank you. Okay, so all of you who were born during the month of February, I know there's quite a bit of you, please come up to the front. Come on. Yeah, you too. Anyone else? Okay, there anybody else? Okay, a photo shoot. Thank you. Okay, get ready to sing on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Okay, now we can have refreshments. Okay, let's do words of thanksgiving. It'll be up on the board. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namo Amida. Itadakimasu. Thank you.